certain factors which are non-negotiable for you when you look or identify or shortlist a company to make a job. For the audience purpose, would you like to explain what basically a category manager does? What are some of the key KPIs which are there for a category manager? And talking about Revolut, so can you give some insight to the audience on what this company does? What is the market problem they are trying to solve for? You have cracked roles at some of the top companies of India, talking about Airtel, Samsung. How do you answer this question? Why we should hire you? Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Salary Talk powered by Apna Jobs, which is India's leading job search and networking platform. अपना जॉब से फ्रेशर्स और वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स दोनों के लिए जॉब ओपनिंग्स है. आपको वहाँ पे जाना है, अपनी प्रोफाइल बनानी है, एंड यू नीड टू मेक श्योर दैट ऑल द रिलेवेंट कीवर्ड्स आर देयर इन प्लेस. When the keywords are there in place, their AI tool will match you with the relevant job openings, and your next shortlist is just one call away. The link to download the app is there in the description as well. Welcome Ankur to Salary Talks powered by Apna Jobs, and Apna is a platform where people find their first job, they network. Want to know about your career journey, because I have gone through your career journey. It has seen multiple pivots. How everything began for you?
Thanks, Shashank. Thanks so much for having me here. If I go back to IMT days and how it started from there. So I was picked right out of campus by Airtel as a part of the young leader batch in 2007. I mean, that's how we were hired at that point in time. With Airtel, I started off with the enterprise services team. The roles kind of shifted between me being a part of the BD setup and also towards creating the product for enterprise services. Primarily in BD, it was about selling the product to operators, both domestic and international. So kind of curated a product there, catering to international operators, curated a product for domestic operators, did a whole lot of cold calling, a lot of experience in terms of how do you outreach and how do you cold call. Moved to a role within Airtel, which was on the prepaid side of things. So if you remember getting those pesky SMSs, those IVRs telling you to recharge, itne se recharge kar lo, ye benefit milega. We were the ones who were doing, we were the ones who were doing it for you. So basically, looking at all the customer sets, data sets, understanding kaun kahan kitna use kar raha hai, then curate your products according to that. Outreach to customers via those OBDs, SMSs, etc. Push conversions, do A/B testing, बहुत data analyze किया, segmentation, targeting, positioning, सब कुछ किया. Market visits करी, समझा market क्या होती है and how do you position Airtel differently from others. Reliance launched one fine day, pulled the rug under our legs. काफी fight थी, but Airtel again being Airtel, resilient, and we kind of sailed through that is how I'll put it. But yeah, it was difficult. Then moved to Airtel Money, and Airtel Money was the first mobile wallet of its sorts, and Airtel was the first to launch something like that in India. So I was a part of the team that actually launched Airtel Money, and I was a part of HHP Circle, which was Haryana, Himachal, and Punjab. Upper North is how it was called at that point in time. So launched Airtel Money there. Again, a lot of marketing in terms of figuring out where do we launch, what do we do, how do we go about launching Airtel Money. And then I had a team of my own sales guys reporting to me, and via them finally hitting the market, doing activations, promoting Airtel Money, pushing Airtel Money out, ensuring that customers start using Airtel Money. And it was a different concept altogether, right? I mean, what we were trying to do was push people to remit money using a wallet, and they wouldn't trust a bank as much, and we were asking them to trust us with their money. So doing all of that via activations, via promotions, via on-ground communication, and then how do you translate it to marketing messages that would have a better resonance with the customer? So did that. Then moved to Samsung, a pivot that was something that I was wanting at that point in time, more to do with me trying to experience a new industry altogether. Plus, hand on heart, a lot of folks that I knew had moved there, and I saw what Samsung was doing, and I wanted to be a part of that electronic or handheld devices wave that had come in. So yeah, with Samsung, the roles again staggered across sales, marketing, and distribution. The first role was more business analytics. So I was reporting to the head of sales at Samsung in India. Again, a lot of market visits. I guess I covered the length and breadth of India. Met a lot of distributors, retailers. I was that ear on the ground who would pick up cues and translate them in the best possible manner for the head office, which is the Gurgaon head office for Samsung. What are the kind of schemes, promotions, etc., that we need to run for our sales team, for the retailers, for distributors, to ensure that we are getting the best value for Samsung. look at market share across territories. How do you cross pollinate best offers? So a lot of market sensing, market understanding. Again, a lot of data. Been playing with data all along is how I'll put it. Then transition to a role within Samsung. Again, a, a, a derivative of me trying to try something new that an organization was doing kind of led me to a role of key account manager within Samsung, and that was for the online team. So Samsung was just setting shop in the online side of things, and we wanted to partner with Flipkart, Amazon. We had a decent enough ambition in terms of what we wanted to do there. So I was the first hire for the online team. Started by managing Flipkart, and honestly, the first 3 months, which was a toil with me sitting in Bangalore, first 3 4 days were in fact sitting outside the Flipkart office, having somebody to talk to me, because Flipkart looked at Samsung as an elephant that didn't know how to dance, is how I'll put it. And so making them understand what Samsung wanted, making Samsung understand what ecom meant in the larger scheme of things, because for Samsung, offline was the play, online ठीक है चलता फिरता channel है, may or may not survive. So kind of waved through that, got Samsung established with Flipkart.
And how big is online now? Total?
Online is pretty significant. I mean, when at the time that I had left, online had about 8 to 10% contribution, from 0 to 10%. Samsung itself, right? And right now it would be easily 30 odd% for Samsung, because you have Flipkart, Amazon, Samsung's own website or their own store. So all of that contributes as much. And in number terms, we were doing about 250, 260 CR a month at best. Come Big Billion Day, that's what Samsung does in a day. So you can clearly understand the kind of scale that online has achieved. But yeah, at that point in time, we were not quite sure of where online would go. But my job became to open our eyes in terms of what online could become, and hence in turn grow the share on the platform. So yeah, did a decent job, I'll say, with getting Flipkart onboarded and selling devices and exclusives on the website, and then replicated that with Amazon. Two different platforms, different ways of operating. One was kar denge, dusra was karwa denge. So yeah, that nuance kind of came in. But yeah, a good learning experience in terms of how ecom works. Then transition to the last role that I had with Samsung, which was more to do with the offline trade marketing. And this was me getting back to the roots of where I'd started my journey with Samsung. So managed Haryana and Rajasthan as two states for Samsung, managing promoters, fixtures, visibility elements, so on and so forth, demo units, etc. Everything that's got to do with making a sale happen at a retail outlet was something that I and my team were managing. Pretty challenging role. It was a transition from, let's say, sitting with the leaders at Flipkart and Amazon to finally sitting with retailers and distributors, talking to them, launching products, getting on stage, talking about the product. A lot of experience in terms of, again, how do you work the market, how do you launch in the market. And I was managing the exclusive channels, the channel for Samsung in these two states as well. So pretty rewarding experience is how I'll put it. But then there was a desire to get into the startup side of things,
Okay.
and fintech was coming up very well, is how I'll put it. Demon had happened a while back. Fintech industries as such was pinging up, and lending card kind of happened at the right time for me, is how I'll put it. Right time in terms of transitioning to startups, but a very wrong time in terms of what was happening. I mean, what happened right after. So when I transitioned to Flipkart, the role was towards replicating what I was doing at Samsung in two states to a pan India size. So basically, doing kind of creating the offline channel for Flipkart for disbursing loans. Sorry, for lending card for disbursing loans. So the channel didn't exist. I was to kind of create it again through a whole lot of on ground activation, creating that brand resonance for lending card in the market. Uh, being the being an alternate to what online was doing for lending card. So the primary disbursal channel was online. People would come online, fill up the form, etc., and get their loan. My job was to create that in an offline avatar. uh, Convert those fence sitters. So if you want a loan, you may or may not trust the platform that you see on online. Exactly. So we became that person who would become the face of the organization through all the communication that we would do on ground. And we picked cities and we did activation across 14 cities, 9 states, built a fairly okay dispersal line. And that's when COVID happened. So as I said, a wrong time in terms of the whole transition, and the whole on-ground activation had to be put on hold. The marketing stuff that I was doing on parallel had to be put on hold. There were no budgets, and hence I had to call time on my stay at lending, and it was more to do with COVID and everything else that followed. And that's when Udan happened for me. It was me going back to electronics. My first love is how I'll put it. But yeah, moved to electronics, but on the other side of the table. So I was managing brands like Samsung, Apple. In fact, brought Samsung into the fold at Udan. Mm, old old connects happen, networks help, old connects help. But at the same time, we were able to do a lot of pilots for Samsung to showcase to them that Udan could make a difference to their ways of working, to their distribution, to their sales. And hence we cracked open Samsung, replicated that with Apple, and created that entire uh, a different channel within Udan itself, which we christened as national distribution. We can go deep into it if needed, but yeah, kind of created that. And did a fairly okay job, I'll say, in terms of managing these brands, managing expectations in terms of day-to-day sales, managing expectations in terms of shares that these brands wanted on the platform, and the kind of volumes we wanted from the brands. Uh, but fintech always kept appealing, and there was always that desire to go back to fintech. And thankfully, Revolut happened for me. And I did that pivot again for an organization that was setting shop in India. And I always feel that kind of thrill in doing something new, in building something from scratch. So as I said, Revolut happened. Moved to here to a role which is more BD focused, launching products in India with the right partners on board to ensure that we have the best services and the best distribution network. So the best of both worlds: marketing, branding, partner onboarding, and a whole lot of distribution. So yeah, that's the journey, man.
Got it, got it. Thank you for sharing that. I've seen that you work across multiple companies. So what is one thing that you look at while switching jobs? So what are some certain factors which are non-negotiable for you when you look or identify or shortlist a company to make a job with?
See, there is no list per se, is how I'll put it. The values of the company should appeal to me, because what are you standing for and what is the thing that you want to work towards is something that should appeal. The kind of impact that that organization wants to make. So with Udan, the kind of impact they wanted to make in the B2B space, with Revolut, the kind of impact that they want to make in the fintech side of things in India, is the one thing that kind of appeals to me, or appeal to me, and is the reason that I wanted to move. The other thing is the team that you're working with. So you get a better sense of people that you're working with once you, let's say, go through LinkedIn and all, and you see the kind of people that you'd be working with. So the peer group that you have is a very big factor. And suffice to say, the person that you're interviewing with, the immediate boss, that makes a lot of difference, because they are the ones who would shape you into the person that you would want to become for the organization, and would help you with the kind of learnings and the kind of career growth that you would want for yourself. So it's a two-way street, right? I mean, it has to appeal. I mean, you have to appeal to them, but at the same time, the person that you are reporting to, it has to make sense for you also.
Right. I think you summarize it really well. You need to know the value of the company. You need to understand what your role will do.
Yeah.
The people you are closely working.
Yes.
Is the growth stage also something that you look at, that this industry might blow up in say next 2 to 3 years? So this can be right place to build, like fintech, for example.
I'd say yes, but then these days it's anybody's guess, right? When people have been switching to fintech of late, you never know what RBI would come up with next, right? I mean, the company you're working with I mean, and the product that you're creating may or may not stand the test of RBI's regulations next month. So while on a general sense you would look at the company stage, but you would look and where they are in terms of their growth, but what you would look at is also the industry as a whole, right? So fintech, for that example, overall fintech is doing very well, right? So as a sector, if it appeals to you, go for it.
Got it, got it. And how were days when you were growing up? Was the aspiration always to do engineering followed by MBA? What were you planning to become when you were a child?
Yeah, I could give you that answer, astronaut banna tha, but nahi. So growing up, I grew up across multiple cities. So dad was a banker, transferable job. Grew up in Chandigarh, Delhi, Ghaziabad, Ludhiana, primarily north. Uh, but constant thing was, I mean, the fact that dad was a banker, and I would go with him to his office, right? And I would see him interacting with people and the kind of respect he had and all. So my first love or the first thing I wanted to do was become a banker for some reason. For that reason. And then 10th, 11th, 9th, 10th in fact was when I started playing cricket very well. So at a point in time I thought cricketer तो बन ही जाएंगे. तब तक IPL नहीं हुआ था. Had IPL happened, I might have just stuck around and done that. But then somebody in my family, that guy became an engineer, flew to the US, and I thought यार ये तो किया जा सकता है. So took up non-medical. But that's when I realized I was not good at physics. But chemistry was a savior for me. I mean, I loved chemistry. I kind of enjoyed everything related to chemistry, organic, inorganic, whatever. So thankfully, chemical engineering happened. And while doing chemical engineering, I kind of envisaged कि इसके बाद किसी chemical engineering based industry में लगेंगे and I'll work there, so on and so forth. But one fine day, and do let me know if it's going a bit too long, but one fine day, बुलजाई करके एक चंडीगढ़ में इंस्टीट्यूट था,
I've also taken them off.
राइट. सो उनका मॉक एग्ज़ाम हुआ थापर में, कॉलेज में, एंड वहाँ पे मैं टॉप कर गया एग्ज़ाम में, 100% स्कॉलरशिप मिल गई. लाइक फ्री में पढ़ना है तो यार पढ़ ही लेंगे. So every weekend I would attend those classes with Bullseye, and I started doing well there during my CAT coaching, and figured out what are the kind of careers that you get post MBA. Seemed appealing, seemed logical, seemed something that I thought I'd be good at. I loved, I mean, I started loving those sales and marketing based nuances, and marketing primarily. So gave that a shot, got through IMT, and yeah, rest followed. So honestly, from an aspiration perspective, there was nothing cut in stone. It was all, it all had to do with where am I getting more joy in terms of being there, where am I getting more learning, where are, let's say, more brain cells getting activated, and that is the journey or the path that I took.
Got it. But you also talked about category lead role at Udan. So for the audience purpose, would you like to explain what basically a category manager does? What are some of the key KPIs which are there for a category manager?
For somebody who's on this side of the table, and while I was at Udan, your primary task is to cater to the brand that you are a category lead for, or rather the brand that you're managing and the category that you're managing. So yeah, so as a category lead, I was assigned those larger brands that I talked about. So the likes of Apple, Samsung, etc., and a few other brands. So your primary task is to ensure that you're doing well by those brands. And when I say that, it means that you have to track day-to-day sales for those brands, the number of outlets that those brands are getting billed at, the nature of billing that is happening. So you can't only look at volumes, you have to look at a category of billing that is happening. So whether accessories are getting billed or not, whether within devices, what kind of price brackets are getting billed. So if you only look at volumes and you kind of index on that, any FOS on ground could sell the cheapest value devices and you would be happy about it. Hence, you have to look across price categories. You have to look at inventory levels because the brands will continue to bill you. But at the same time, you have to ensure that you are at a decent enough inventory level. And hence, what are the kind of discounts, promotions, etc., that you have to run. Then you would also look at what is the kind of visibility that you have on the website that is appealing to, let's say, the end customer. In our case, it was the retailer. So, which kind of visibility elements are making sense? Where are you getting more traction traffic, and where are the drop offs happening? कुछ फटा तो नहीं है, कुछ issue तो नहीं है, and you would look at that. Then you would look at that. I mean, you could cut that across multiple states, territories, etc. Where are you doing well? Where are you not doing so well? And hence, you would look at all those parameters in tow. So there'd be lead indicators that you would build and lag indicators that you would build in terms of share, etc., and how it is trending. And one primary aspect for us was also to look at the return rates. So returns would screw up your P&L, right? So where are the returns peaking? Which category, device, etc., are the returns peaking at? And hence you would try and ensure that anything that's gone amiss in that category, maybe device के साथ charger नहीं जा रहा, maybe there is a genuine issue with the device, and hence you would go back and forth with the brand to figure out what is the best possible way to sell a particular category device, etc., that is causing you problems. So hence, while you're doing best or doing good for the brand that you're working with, you also have to look at your own P&L along the way, and you have to look at how you can best manage that within the confines that the brand has established for you.
Got it. So if somebody has to embark on this journey of becoming a, say, category manager, what are certain set of skills that you will suggest them to have at least or maybe work on? Somebody's planning to make a move to us.
See, from my lens, okay, and this is more to do with how I had managed it, and there are different ways of doing it. Your ability to manage relationship with the brand is paramount, right? So your ability to manage and your relationship doesn't cut. I mean, it cuts across multiple facets of the brand that you're working with. So your day-to-day conversations will not only will not only be with the brand POC. So let's say if I'm working with Samsung, it won't be a single individual that I'm working with on a daily basis. You will have to talk to multiple teams within the brand, because if you want margins, you would have to maybe eventually talk to the finance guy. If you're talking about supply chain and when the deliveries have to happen, so on and so forth, you have to talk to the operations guy as well. So your ability to know uh, nuances of each and every discipline help. Hence, you can't be somebody who's locked in a box looking at your category and your way of working and something that you're good at. Hence, you have to cut across multiple facets of or multiple disciplines: finance, supply chain, logistics, and sales, right? Then you have to know marketing, because at the end of the day, whatever gets sold on a website, right? Or gets sold on a platform. So your ability to understand ट्रैफिक कहाँ आ रहा है, कितना आ रहा है, मार्केटिंग का कौन सा एसेट काम कर रहा है, कौन सा नहीं कर रहा, कहाँ फट रहा है, कहाँ इशू आ रहा है, ऑल दैट इज क्रिटिकल. Then you have to have a decent amount of market working as well, right? I mean, while let's say for a Flipkart and an Amazon, it may not be as relevant because it's purely an online play. But for us at Udan, understanding the market and understanding how the FOS on ground is behaving was just as critical. So if you've not worked the market, if you don't know how to talk to a sales guy day in, day out, how to push sales, it doesn't quite work for you. So hence, your ability to manage the brand, as I said, multiple teams across the brand, your ability to manage your on-ground sales team, and your understanding of marketing, they become critical. So it's category management for me cuts across all disciplines. You, huh?
Search skill, people
Yes,
management,
yes. You can't be. You have to be a jack of all trades.
you can't be working in.
No, not at all. Never. Category managers can't.
Taking a backseat, coming to your lending cart role, what do you feel are some of the current challenges in the India lending market that these players are trying to solve for or finding it difficult to solve?
Again, this is my POV, right? And there could be disagreements on this, but see, the way I saw it, everybody talks about tier 2, tier 3, Bharat, right? It's become the buzzword right now. But I don't know if people have actually cracked Bharat open. I mean, the likes of PhonePe, Paytm have, QR codes have reached there. But whether lending as an ecosystem has been able to percolate to that level is something I'm not sure of. So as I said, during my time at Lending Guard, we would do those on-ground activations, right? So we'd be in Surat, Ahmedabad, and even further below, right? When we'd go there, the primary channel of financing was the Sahukar sitting in that in your vicinity. So while our interest rates would be a 1.4, 1.6%, whatever, the Sahukar would be lending at a 2%, and yet you were more comfortable going there. Personal rapport, trust, the ability to know that the loan will be disbursed the moment you want, and there was no judgment involved, right? So when you walk into a bank, you know, they'll ask you 10 documents, they'll ask you multiple things, and they might as well judge you for the business that you have. That is what we were trying to, do away from at Lending Cart. But again, as I said, the threshold that the person has to cross is their trust has to be established on the brand that is there with them. And these brands are doing very well in doing it in tier 1, tier 2 to some extent. How far these brands and these lenders are able to percolate in a tier 3, tier 4, which is where the real essence of an MSME lies, right? I mean, these are the people who are trying to come up. So, and that's where, let's say, somebody like an Udan was doing still better. And again, it could be a derivative of me having seen it happen firsthand at Udan, wherein they were sourcing, wherein they were creating merchants in these cities and at the same time lending there as well. So, hence, the way I see it, a lot of these pure play lenders have to kind of establish and reach towards this tier 3, tier 4 market here. I mean, that's where
Kind of bank type of presence where you have offline shop where people can go and maybe have that trust.
see, that's what breaks the unit economics for them.
Right.
So can't have a physical presence, have to have an online presence. But how do you appeal to that audience sitting in a tier 3, tier 4, wherein you're creating trust, you're creating empathy, and you're understanding their business as much as they want you to, so that you're able to disburse that loan to them. वो bond बनाना बहुत मुश्किल है. वो offline में बनता है, but वो online translation of that language is somewhere where a lot of lacuna is still there. वो establish करने में भी time.
वो कभी ऑन बोर्ड आएगा नहीं आपके
वो क्यों आएगा? 2% पे दे रहा है, आप उसको बोल रहे हो 1.5 पे ले जाओ, क्यों करेगा? 2% per month is still better than 1.5 any day, right? So प्लस वो कोलैटरल नहीं मांग रहा, उसको आपकी शक्ल पसंद है या उसको आपको जानता है, तो वो आपको लोन दे देगा।
And talking about Revolut, so can you give some insight to the audience on what this company does? What is the market problem they are trying to solve for?
So Revolut is a global fintech, is how I want to start. I mean, they're a UK-based fintech. They started in 2014-15. The primary problem Revolut was trying to solve when they started in UK was cross-border remittances, right? And that
Western Union can be a close competitor.
is how I'll put it. A Wise or a Remitly would just be would be a closer competitor, is how I'll put it. Western Union is more an agent-based kind of a network. Does remittance, but more agent and more physical branch presence. Remitly, Wise, they are more in that space. But what Revolut did from there on was, while they solved for this, they started getting into more and more products and more countries. So hence they're more global in nature. Uh, in India, when we started by getting an 82 license, which kind of opens up the same doors for us in terms of, let's say, doing remittances plus also issuing multi-currency cards. So your forex cards that you take along when you're traveling outside of India, that kind. So basically, the 82 license that we have enables us to do that. So that's the first product that we are getting into, and we just talked about it, right? So we've been offered an in principle PPI approval. So hence we are in that unique positioning of solving for those who are looking to travel abroad and for those who are looking for domestic solutions. So in India, with these two licenses, we are in a unique position to launch products that cater to those who are traveling out. So hence the top tier customer, and also cater to customers who have a domestic use case, right? So PPI gives us that capability. Hence, with our experience of having launched across multiple countries, seeing customers across multiple countries, and their use case and their needs, we are in that position also to replicate the success that we've had in products that we've launched across other countries. So with all of that, Revolut is in some sense in a decent place to disrupt a lot of things, fintech related. And at the end of the day, the Revolut's overall objective is to solve for all things money. I mean, that's the called catchphrase or line that we go by, or the mission statement that we have, that we are solving for all things money. So any and everything that has to do with money and wherein your phone or your device can come in handy is wherein we would want to have a play.
Got it.
So you'll see us disrupt and do a lot of products in India.
Got it. You have cracked roles at some of the top companies of India, talking about Airtel, Samsung. How do you answer this question, why we should hire you?
It's a very difficult question to answer. But while you're answering that, I mean, this is something that I've realized. It's a two-way question, right? I mean, if you've come to a stage where somebody is asking you why should we hire you, you've been that one person chosen amongst so many who would have applied, right? So they would have seen something in you. But at the same time, what's the kind of homework that you've done to answer that question is something that goes a long way into you cracking an interview. So whenever you're answering this question, or whenever I'm answering this question, it's got to do with what will I contribute to the organization, right? Very banal, but at the same time, what you have to understand is that the role that you're applying for, you're not 100% fit. I mean, very few people are 100% fit into a role. Even if you're a 50-60% fit,
You should go ahead and
you should go ahead and apply. But what are you contributing to the organization with that application and with your presence is something that you should talk about. That comes from the JD. So what are the fits that you have, and what is the additional value that you can give? But at the same time, as I said, it's a two-way street, right? So where does the organization come in your growth, and how do you see yourself fitting in? Which again, I'll go back to the peer group that I talked about, right? So if you know the peer group that you'll be working with, you could talk about that. You could talk about how the kind of people that you've seen work for this company, how they've grown and how they've kind of developed into the people or the professionals that they are, and you see yourself also kind of emanating or becoming a similar individual, kind of resonates with the person that you're talking to because they know you've done your research. Then also having a clear understanding of the company's value, which is something I talked about, right? Company's values, mission, vision, all of that, and how you kind of resonate to that, and how in your career, if you can, how talk about it, how you've kind of shown that. All these things go a long way in terms of building that trust in the person who's talking to you. But don't be too salesy, is how I'll put it. Becho mat. थोड़ा लॉजिकल लगो, जेन्युइन लगो, बिकॉज बहुत लोग ना एंड सिंस आई बीन ऑन द अदर साइड ऑफ द टेबल एंड आई हैव इंटरव्यूड पीपल, बहुत लोग बहुत ज़्यादा बेचने की कोशिश करते हैं, दैट डजंट क्वाइट, आई मीन इट्स यू आर एबल टू जज दैट एंड सी दैट, so it doesn't quite work.
You're faking it.
If you're faking it, you can't do that. You can do it for one round, can't do it across.
Got it. बिफोर आई स्टार्ट द रैपिड फायर राउंड, जस्ट अ हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट, आप इस राउंड को बहुत डिलीजेंटली सुनिएगा, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो भी स्किल्स मेंशन की जाएंगी या जो भी टिप्स दी जाएंगी वो काफ़ी रिलेवेंट होगी अगर आप अपना जॉब्स पे जाके अपनी प्रोफाइल को बनाते हैं और आप वहाँ पे जॉब सर्च करते हैं, क्योंकि इनमें से कुछ टिप्स आपको काफ़ी हेल्पफुल होंगी अगर आपकी इंटरव्यू कॉल आती है, आप उसमें उसको लेवरेज कर सकते हैं टू स्टैंड आउट फ्रॉम रेस्ट ऑफ द क्राउड. आई थिंक दैट ब्रिंग्स मी टू माय नेक्स्ट सेक्शन, व्हिच इज रैपिड फायर पावर्ड बाय अपना जॉब. सो आई हैव सर्टेन सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस रेडी फॉर यू दैट आई लाइक टू आस्क यू.
Sure.
The first question that I want to ask you is, what are three skills required to succeed on any role on business side? You have been in multiple business roles. Three skills somebody has to develop. What are those?
Can't work in a silo.
Okay.
You want me to, if you want me to elaborate, I can do that. I mean, it'll help. If you, so as I was saying, category or other roles. If you're working in a silo, then you're contributing to your own growth. But you have to contribute to the organization's growth, right? अपने ही रोल पे बैठे रहोगे तो अपना बना लोगे, बट इफ यू आर वर्किंग अक्रॉस मल्टीपल and if you have knowledge across multiple facets within the organization, you can contribute to organization's growth and it will lead to your growth. Network, I mean, बहुत आसान word है बोलना, but difficult है execute करना. As you were saying, fake कर रहोगे दिखेगा, but network so that you are known well in your company and outside of it.
Right.
Which could be things that you've contributed, things that you've done, and things where you are good at. Then be empathetic. I mean, that's something that I've learned goes a long way in terms of shaping one's career. Because see, sales में था, product वालों को गाली निकालता था, finance वालों को निकालता था कि approval नहीं दे रहे, product नहीं बना रहे. Once I got to finally understanding what their KPIs and what they do mean to them, is when I finally understood how I can get my things done better, because you become a part of the process and thinking that they have. And yep, exactly. So that empathy goes a long way in convincing the other person that you mean good for the organization and for them as well. So yeah, these three things.
What are some things in the resume that excite you if you are taking interview of any candidate?
Numbers.
Every bullet.
You have to. मतलब jargon सब लिखते हैं, सबकी इंग्लिश अच्छी है आजकल, चैट जीपीटी सबने यूज़ किया हुआ है, बट जो नंबर है और उसके पीछे तुम्हारा जो साइंस है, मतलब सो इफ लेट्स से यू टॉक अबाउट यू having shaped X or contributed to X percentage of revenue margin, whatever, I would want to know how you did it.
Right.
Then what do you do beyond your work is also something that kind of excites me. I mean, see, a lot of people don't talk too much about their life beyond their jobs.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you're working in my team, our conversations will run beyond work also. So whether that individual in that sense is a culture fit for the team or the organization or not, mostly, yeah. I mean, basically, you have to talk to an individual to know an individual. But as I said, those key bullet points, what you do in your life beyond your work, these are the things.
And since you have changed role across such of these top companies, you might have negotiated really well with HR also. So salary negotiation की क्या tips है जो आप लोगों को share करना चाहिए कि mistake को avoid करनी चाहिए basically while you are negotiating?
Talk percentages. Never talk numbers or talk ranges if you want to have a salary conversation. Know your benchmarks, and you have Glassdoor and other websites that will help you tremendously in understanding organization कितना पे करती है, आप जिस रोल में अप्लाई कर रहे हैं वहाँ पे क्या बैंड्स अप्लाई करते हैं, and do your homework before you're having that conversation, and you would know naturally when that conversation has to happen, right? It's either in the first it's either the first conversation or the last, which is when when the first conversation happens, talk in a range. When the last conversation happens, do your homework by that time. Talk to people if you can, and ex-employees, people who are in the organization to some extent if it's possible, or people in a similar role outside, so that you know where the industry is at. So if you've done your homework right, you can get the number you want. Although these days market is a little bad, but yeah, at the end of the day, you can negotiate a number that you want. if you have the talent that the company is looking for.
You think if you impress hiring manager during interview process, then also you have some headroom to negotiate salary better.
नहीं यार, HR एंड में तंग करता है. But see, the hiring manager can have a flex, is how I'll put it, because the budget is theirs, right? I mean, it's a team budget from which they are cutting this out and giving it to you. So they have a flex. But at the end of the day, it's an organizational call also, whether or not to hire you in a bracket. So could go either ways. They might have an influence, is how I'll put it. But the HR.
Worked in all the three industries, electronics, fintech, and
Hmm.
telecom industry. Which industry you see out of these three will be shining in next 3 to 5 years if people are looking out for job? आपके तीनों एक्सपीरियंस से कहाँ पे they should be aiming for it?
यार अभी तो fintech ही बोलूँगा, because I am a part of that industry. Why would I downplay that? But it's doing well, honestly. So while from an India in perspective, there's a lot of action that has happened, and we were talking about it earlier, right? काफ़ी काम हुआ है, काफ़ी कंपनीज आई हैं, काफ़ी स्टार्टअप्स हैं इसमें. If you have companies that are doing something differentiated, try and aim for them, because a lot of people are solving the same problem over and over again in different avatars. But if you can aim for an organization that is doing something differentiated, aim for that. But as an industry, it's doing well. It should continue to grow, because as I said, tier 3, tier 4 and beyond, there is a lot of scope.
300, 400 million Indians will again come on.
Exactly.
They will have financial need, which is
Exactly.
Right.
So
I think that was really helpful. Now I'll just move to personal side of things. How has your thinking process changed from 20s to 30s?
see, getting married changes your perspective on a lot of things. That aside, industry in itself has evolved a lot, right? I mean, when we launched Airtel Money, there was no app. We did it all on a USSD based input. So star hash करके एक command देते थे, वो पूरा menu आता था, and you would interact. Apps came about. The way people interact with their devices changed. The way you have to position your product has changed. So from a physical manifestation of a product that I was selling to an online app, etc., that we've had to come to, the way you position your product has changed tremendously. जब सैमसंग में करते थे एक्टिवेशन, तब एक डिवाइस दिखाते थे. जब लेंडिंग आर्ट में करते थे, एक ऐप दिखाना पड़ता था. So that sense, right? So the way you have to talk about your product has changed. The way people interact with the product has changed, and hence the way you can cut through the clutter and showcase yourself has to change tremendously, and it has. So that's the way the entire gamut of things has changed. Your
Working style in 20s where you're slogging more, in 30s is more about work-life balance. So
I wish, but see, एयरटेल में काम किया है, वहाँ पे मतलब पीपीटी आती थी, जब रिव्यू होता था तो मज़ा आता था. पता था रात को 2 बजे परांठे ऑर्डर होंगे, खाना खाएंगे, एंड 2-3 बजे तक बैठते थे, अच्छा लगता था. That thing is not there anymore, thankfully. So to that extent, there is work-life balance. There was a lot of slogging earlier in 20s, yes, agreed. But see, there are instances and moments right now also when you have to slog it out. नया product आ रहा है, नया कुछ करना है. So you have to give your time, attention and everything to the organization. But you do end up maintaining work-life balance better. You're right. So you do end up doing that, which is which is a derivative of where you are in your life stage. As I said, being married, I have a kid, so you have to prioritize that also. So I do end up doing that, and I am able to do that thankfully now. But yeah, that time things were different यार. मतलब एक्सेल पे क्वेरीज लिखना, मतलब एक्सेल पे काम करना, एक्सेस की क्वेरीज लिखना, वो सब होता था. Thankfully all of that is not there now.
I think you just finished your BTech and you went to MBA and you joined as a fresher. The Airtel was your first job.
Yeah.
So right now, if we talk about market, freshers are finding it very difficult to get to right job or maybe even getting a job. So what will be your tip to freshers who are just starting up, how they should go about?
It's a very tough market, is what I said, right? We see IITians not getting hired off campus. IIMs में people are not getting hired. So it's really tough out there. Again, to freshers, do your homework. So if you're and LinkedIn is one channel that helps, right?
Building network.
Build the network, but at the same time, if you're looking for a job, do some research about it. You just can't simply write a cold email and expect somebody to respond. If you know what you want, if you know where you fit in, and if you see roles that are open there are enough and more seniors around you who would help you get connected to the right individual in a particular organization. So if you're building your network right, and if you know where you want to land, and you've done your homework, you can maybe crack a job for yourself. So doing that homework, knowing that role, and pitching yourself right matters. Cold emails लिखने से never shy away from that. But with the right research, those emails would have a better chance of conversion for you.
Right.
But yeah, you are right. Build your network. I mean, that's critical, quintessential, something you can't do away with. But build it genuinely.
Got it.
Yeah.
And if we talk about career pivot, so you have seen 4 or 5 organizations.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that excite you for next 5 years? Which are some of the industries that you feel that they will be picking up, or those are the industries that you'd like to try and test your professional journey?
Honestly, I'd stick to fintech for now. But AI as such is coming up well. Not an industry I understand too well. I'm trying to pick nuances about it. But how well I'll be able to contribute there is something that I'm still trying to understand. See, if you've done sales, marketing lifelong, and you'd want to stick to that to some extent, where does that fit into the overall scheme of things from an AI perspective is something that I'm trying to understand. But from an industry's perspective, it's one industry that I'm excited about. And there's a lot of action happening. Even yesterday we were discussing about how engineering streams these days, and this was interesting, right? If you remember at your point in time, there was only computer science, right?
Electronic communication.
Right now in computer science, there are 9 disciplines that have AI or something akin to that are associated. So with that, the industry pivot within computer science is towards AI. So hence that is one industry that's pretty exciting, that will grow, and that is something that is the next pivot that I would look for.
Got it. And I think this brings me to my last question. How you upskill yourself? So what are some of the things that you read or maybe consume to make sure that you are updated as per recent job market?
So I talk to a lot of folks within the industry. Because see, the action that is happening in your organization is a derivative of, or is an equivalent of what you see on a daily basis. So your ability to upskill is kind of limited, because you look at your role and you look at how well you are doing and how your organization is doing. But if you talk to people across the industry, you tend to know what is happening. Then there are multiple avenues of learning that are out there. So I recently did a course with GrowthX. Yeah, so basically got to understand what growth was about. How do you kind of bring a customer on board? How do you retain them? How do you engage with them? So on and so forth. So that kind of helps. So just pick up those nuances and pick up that bit also from the market as such. There were friends who'd done that, and hence I understood that it's something that I would be pretty keen on, and picked that up and explored it. Similarly, as I said, AI is where the action is right now. So I'm trying to understand what are the right courses there. So basically keep a lookout in terms of where the market is headed. Keep a very keen eye on what your peers in a similar industry, in other organizations are doing, and keep trying to reinvent yourself. And in terms of reading, trying to move away from fiction is how I'll put it. अभी तो एक Audible पे चल रही है Think Fast and Slow, and I'm reading about the Tatas. There's a different a paperback that I'm reading. So yeah.
Would that even at this life stage you are able to take out time and dedicate it to maybe reading, talking with people, because things take a backseat when you have a kid.
Yeah, they do. But BD में है ना यार. You have to keep talking to people. You have to engage with people. That's only how you build your network.
Thank you so much, Atul, for coming. It was great having got this conversation with you, and we'll catch up with you later also. Maybe we'll do a second part where we'll talk in more detail about maybe the role at Airtel, because that was the time when Jio also came up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Various stories that we will discuss with you.
For sure. Thanks so much, Shashank. Thanks so much for having me.
So there you go. इस एपिसोड में हमने अंकुर के साथ डिस्कस किया हाउ यू कैन बिल्ड योर करियर इफ़ यू आर एमिंग फॉर रोल्स इन फिनटेक, टेलीकॉम इंडस्ट्री और लैंडिंग स्पेस. और अगर आपको इन सेक्टर में जाना है तो आपको अपना जॉब्स पे जाके अपनी प्रोफाइल बनानी है. मेक श्योर करना है कि सारे रिलेवेंट कीवर्ड्स इन प्लेस हो. These keywords could be related to lending industry if you are aiming for a job in lending domain. This can be related to category management या telecom. ये सारे keyword की लिस्ट मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन में भी डाल दूंगा. But the first thing you need to do is that you need to make sure that your profile on अपना jobs is updated. क्योंकि once you update it, their AI tool will match you with the relevant job roles जहाँ पे जाके आप अप्लाई कर सकते हो. और जब सिनर्जी होगी जॉब रोल और आपके एप्लीकेशन में, your chances of getting a short list and then finally converting will increase manifold. Subscribe to the channel for more such content.